Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. Zambians to be paying more for transport as bus fares increase. NABBED opposition leader calls for the impeachment of President HH. The PF threatens to sue government over the demolition of mobile money booths. In international news, police probe deadly mass shooting in South Africa. And in sports, football to change the mindset of youths in MONZE district. Details coming through after this commercial. And other main news in detail. The Lusaka High Court has ordered the Lusaka-based lawyer Namwene Piri, who allegedly attempted to commit suicide and administered poisonous substance to her son who died, be taken to China Hospital to examine her mental status. This is following an application made by Ms. Piri's legal counsel that she undergoes mental assessment at the hospital to ascertain if she is fit and is able to stand trial. This is in a case in which Ms. Piri is facing one count of murder, contrary to Section 200 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia.
With a face mask covering her face while wearing a grey and white coat, a Lusaka-based lawyer, Namwene Kamoko Piri, is being laid back to a correctional facility shortly after she appeared before a Lusaka High Court judge Monday morning for an alleged offence of murder. The accused, who is appearing for the first time before the High Court, made headlines earlier this year after it was alleged that she attempted to commit suicide and administered poisonous substance to her son who died. The state have charged her with one count of murder, contrary to Section 200 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. However, when she appeared before court this morning, a defense counsel applied that before criminal proceedings can commence against her, she be taken to a psychiatric hospital, Chainama, before she can stand trial. The accused, who is an in-house counsel at Food Reserve Agency, on February 15, 2022, allegedly caused the death of her son by administering doom to her son and later consumed the same in an attempt to commit suicide. However, she was lucky and did survive. The High Court has since granted the application and ordered that she be taken to Chainama Hospital to examine her mental status. According to the trial judge, an accused's mental fitness is necessary to a fair trial, and it is important that Ms. Piri have a mental capacity to understand and appreciate the court proceedings. Following a report that will be submitted from the hospital to determine the mental fitness of the accused person, it will determine whether the accused can stand trial or not. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A state witness Monday 11 July 2022 failed to testify against acting Patriotic Front President Given Luwinda after falling ill before the trial could even commence. This is in a case in which the opposition leader is facing 4 counts of possessing property suspected of being proceeds of crime and illegally obtaining 230,000 United States dollars from a Chinese company and using part of the money to acquire land in Kingsland city. When the matter came before the Lusaka magistrates under the Specialized Financial Economic Crimes Court, the state informed the court that the witness who was set to testify had fallen ill and they could not proceed with the case, hence requesting that it be adjourned.
A state witness that was scheduled Monday morning to testify in the corruption case against opposition acting Patriotic Front President Given Lubinda failed to do so after falling ill. The witness could not proceed to give testimony before Lusaka Magistrate Court under the Specialized Financial Crimes Court, forcing the state to adjourn the case to a later date. So far, no witness has testified in the case. This is in a matter where the acting opposition leader has been slapped with 4 counts of being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime. He is alleged to have, on the 2nd of April 2019, possessed a house valued at $260,000 United States dollars, situated in Kingsland City along Twin Palm Road, Ibex Hill in Lusaka. In the other count, Mr. Lubinda is alleged to have possessed $100,000 United States dollars in his account at APSA on the 20th of February 2019. Other allegations are that Mr. Lubinda was in possession of $49,990 United States dollars and also $50,000 United States dollars. The allegations of being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime that the accused is facing are contrary to Section 71 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010. Mr. Lubinda has denied all the 4 charges before Lusaka Magistrate Stanford Ngobola. The matter comes up on the 29th of July 2022. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, Zambia Library Skills Cultural Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired Acting Director Rogers Nyerenda says the center has successfully finished transcribing 10 copies of the Constituency Development Fund CDF guidelines into Braille to Sterile inclusion. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Nyerenda, however, explains that the center is, however, limited in what it can do, as the Braille paper is imported from countries such as Norway, hence calling on funders to come on board and support the library. Meanwhile, Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disabilities Elijah Ngwale says there is need to ensure that the library is stocked with latest books.
According to data from the World Health Organization (WHO), Zambia has about 103,000 persons with blindness living in various parts of the country. While all persons with disabilities face various challenges at individual and national level, persons with blindness have been lagging on various national issues for years, as most of the printed material is not translated into Braille writing. It is in this vein that the Zambia Library Skills Cultural Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired has taken it upon itself to transcribe 10 copies of the Constituency Development Fund CDF guidelines into Braille writing as one way of keeping this group of people updated on national issues. Speaking to Camnet News, Center Acting Director Mr. Rogers Nyerenda states that while this is a step forward, more funding is needed to print similar national documents on a large scale.
We shall not take this book to any blind persons as if we are giving groundnuts. What we shall be doing is we shall be identifying as the constituency. Has the constituency, for example, got a blind person. Please, I'm not talking about visual impaired person. I don't like the term visual impaired person. But blind and visual impaired, have they got, if they have got that one on their committee, because this should be read for the document for the committee. If they have, then we give them a copy. Are we sure that we supervise this one?
Meanwhile, Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Elijah Ngwale, has given his view on the books.
At the moment, we have the equipment. We have the big embosser, which is this one, and the small embosser, that side there. The institution is capable of transcribing as long as we are supported financially. The paper, which is not locally produced, we normally import this paper either from South Africa or Norway.
In a separate interview, Ms. Regina Mukuka, who is a person living with blindness, has tested the newly transcribed CDF guideline books, stating that these will ensure inclusion.
Republic of Zambia, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Constituency Development Fund Guidelines. Pursuant to Section 25 of the Constituency Development Fund Act number 11 of 2018.
Zambia is driving towards the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which focus on ending inequalities in the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali has charged that Zambian Republican President Hakainde Hichilema must be impeached. Speaking Monday afternoon at Force headquarters after police officers raided his house, Mr. Tayali accused the head of state of going against his word on political persecutions. Mr. Tayali wondered why President Hichilema was not addressing the cost of high living as promised, but focused on prosecuting opposition members. By broadcast time, Mr. Tayali was still at the police headquarters for interrogations.
Seems luck is not on the side of opposition Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali, as he has again found himself on the wrong side of the law. Mr. Tayali, who has so far been arrested and detained twice recently, was Monday afternoon picked up by Zambia police officers at his house and taken to Force headquarters for interrogation.
No. Yes, we have the gentleman. Whatever they want to do, they will do it.
Yes, we told you. We are coming with you. We are coming and bringing him to the police.
But what you want to have inside the house?
What do you mean? What do you want to have inside? You've come to pick him.
Yes.
Go and pick him.
Council, we expected you. If you had wanted to do that, we would have done that before.
Now, you have said you want to pick him. And we've told you we are bringing him.
What was the agreement?
We have told you
what are these people?
We have agreed that we are bringing him and we want to come with you.
What about these people?
These are not my people.
No.
They're doing their job. Okay, do your job. Let me do my job.
Bring this gentleman.
Yes.
Bring this gentleman.
Please excuse us. Please move your car. I get my car. We pick him and follow you to the police.
His summons is said to be in relation with a Facebook post that he recently made, where he alleged that Republican President Hakainde Hichilema is a failure, among other things.
I hold it firmly, and I can defend it wherever. I can defend it. If it hurts you to hear that your president Hakainde Hichilema is useless, Hakainde Hichilema is a liability, if it hurts you, that is you. And respect my opinion as well, because this man, ever since he became president, what good has he brought?
However, Mr. Tayali, who was quick to run to his social media page to announce that police have knocked on his door, wondered why he was being visited by the officers. Despite being in the zone of law enforcers, Mr. Tayali went ahead to accuse President Hichilema of going against his words and further calling that he be impeached.
Me, the voice that speaks for you, is being taken. What are you going to do? Are you going to continue keeping quiet, waiting for Tayali to speak? Because Tayali is being arrested. I don't know. They're taking me now. I don't know where they will take me and how long they're going to keep me. But what about the people? Are you going to continue just talking for social media? And yet this government is messing us terribly. This is what I've been saying. Hakainde Hichilema must be impeached. You are here. This man must be impeached. Move a motion. Impeach this man. This man has failed. This man is not going to do anything for this country. Mukalalolela mpaka na Yesu Kristo akesi. Hakainde Hichilema will not change anything. This man has to be impeached. Power is in the people. Let the people petition these members of parliament like I'm doing. Petition your members of parliament to move a motion of impeachment. Hakainde Hichilema must go. You can't wait for 2026. Mukafwane nsala.
By broadcast time, the opposition leader was still at Force headquarters and no report was officially given on whether he has been arrested or not. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA has approved the request by bus operators to increase bus fares. The approved new bus fares are as follows: Intermine Copper Belt 3 kwacha, Intercity 10%, Copper Belt Local 1 kwacha 15 way, Lusaka Local 1 kwacha 15 way, Lusaka Peri-Urban 3 kwacha. RATSA Frederick Muvanga, Head of Public Relations, says the new bus fares are effective 12th July 2022. The adjustment in bus fares comes in the wake of the increase in the fuel pump prices by 1 kwacha 18 ngwe per litre for petrol and 2 kwacha 37 ngwe per litre for diesel, with effect from 1st July 2022. However, Zambians have been complaining over the ever-rising cost of bus fares.
Timachita help wajaban, but ise tipempa kuna government life step understand. Monga sama basi. So far timatandiza manini. Timatandiza livambi timapitamu. Sometimes you don't police now parody, but it's a fuel. Yenda ishte increase. Then put the challenge timangana nayo. Pamene apakira mutemu. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Uzada kwa tiwachosako mafares. So mafares zinajawaka chosako. Isatimangana na pressure. Yo fakira again within 2 weeks, 2 months. Fakira kufiti kuzachani sama basi. So pamene aponde pressure tilinayo, but otherwise fuel yaenda too much.
Tipempa ankoli petro waipikeche pantu pamosi pafisi moza ati ni 27 amene angena kon 26 na 28 kale pamene apa not week month bapaka so month bapaka so apa tena turuwa nankoni.
Continue doing such a thing because they're confusing us. Better they just the fuel should be started. If they say, for example, if the government maybe they have got a plan to say we are going to hike prices for fuel maybe for 50 kwacha. Later they come up to say 50 kwacha it is the price of what? Then this year, then this month goes up, the other month comes down just like that. Later the government should say just stick to one price. We say no, the fuel price for all year round it is 50 kwacha. And
Civil rights activist William Harrington says there is no need to hold a referendum on whether the death penalty should be upheld or abolished from the Republican Constitution, stating that stakeholders have already given their recommendations over the matter. Reacting to stakeholders who have been calling for the holding of a referendum for a decision to be made on the matter, Mr. Harrington says stakeholders already made their decision at the Mungomba Constitutional Review Commission of 2005 for this law to be upheld. Mr. Harrington notes that the recommendations at the same meeting were loud and clear, indicating that majority of stakeholders do not want this law to be abolished, adding that any further consultations will be a waste of public resources.
The Constitution Review Commission is a sample of what the feelings of the people is on issues like the death penalty from across the breadth and width of the Republic of Zambia. Now, whilst agreeing with him on that one as a matter of principle, I do not agree with Mr. Saunders the calling for a consultative process, another costly consultative process, because the people have already spoken on this matter of the death penalty. So there's no need, absolutely no need, for another consultative process. Now, having said that, it's important that we conserve whatever little money we have in this country, then embarking on another consultative process, which when the people have already spoken. Yes, I am aware that the Republican president of the New Dawn government, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, did say that Zambia would abolish the death penalty, but I take that as his personal opinion. Of course, all citizens have a personal opinion, of their own opinions on issues like of the death penalty and so on, but Zambia is not a dictatorship, and neither is President Hakainde a dictator himself. From the little I know of him, he's not a dictator. So I don't think he would like to impose his will on the people of the Republic of Zambia on issues like the death penalty.
Restaurant owners at Lusaka's Mateweto area in Thorn Park say limited access to economic empowerment has continued to hinder women from attaining economic independence. In an interview, the women state that while it is fully acknowledged that funds exist under initiatives such as the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) are not enough to cater for all women in the country. Meanwhile, Lusaka Central Member of Parliament Mulambo Haimbe has assured the women that problems such as erratic water at the market will be solved under the Constituency Development Funds.
Ensuring equal access to economic activities for all citizens regardless of gender has been recognized as one of the major vehicles to use towards Zambia's goal of achieving a prosperous middle-income status in 8 years' time from now, as it is said that a country is only as rich as its citizens. Women in Zambia have, however, continued to lag behind in comparison to men when it comes to economic participation. Various programs have therefore been put in place to help the women folk, such as the 20% reserved for women under the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). Some women, like these restaurant owners at Lusaka's Mateweto area in Thorn Park, however, feel that more needs to be done, stating that these funds are not adequate to lift all women across the country out of poverty.
But if pano market, my challenges as women, maziva pano we are mixed. Kulima widows, kulima orphans, kulima chani bambili maningi pano.
But makapito cha bendiye ya mene yanatichepera. Funding ingati mwatupasako funding ma women so awe tizankara zakondwela.
Meanwhile, Lusaka Central Member of Parliament Mr. Mulambo Haimbe has come on board to empower the women through a 6-month empowerment program, which will see each restaurant owner receiving a 25-kilogram bag of mealie meal per month using funds from the Mulambo Haimbe Foundation. Mr. Haimbe has further gone on to state plans for the constituency using CDF.
There are a couple of water and sanitation projects, including at this very Mateweto market. There is need for water reticulation to be improved. We have a challenge at Thorn Park School where they also want some water. All of the 3 schools in the ward, Silvisia ward, where we are today, require desks to be manufactured and provided. So those are some of the programs that we have.
Constituency members have also laid out the expectations for the CDF.
Na right mkati spotlight security imatuone sati pakala black so kwa ngangeni one side so ngawaone please jameni pemba kuliona lepo bana.
The lawmaker hopes that this initiative will help in boosting many businesses in the area as one way of enhancing economic activities. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The poor road network and limited disposable income have been denied among the challenges affecting sanitation service providers in Zambia's capital, Lusaka. Golchi Service Limited Director George Miller says some places are difficult to access and that people are not willing to pay for the services. And NWASCO Chief Inspector Peter Mtale says they are working on decentralizing service provision by encouraging the construction of waste treatment plants in various localities. According to the 2021 National Water Supply and Sanitation Council NWASCO sector report, in terms of sanitation, 315,111 more people accessed the service during the reporting period. This includes people served from newly captured septic tanks.
The National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, with its expanded mandate to provide on-site sanitation, empowered utilities to undertake this service and do it in partnership with the private sector. On-site sanitation, or non-sewered system, also called decentralized sanitation, is a system where the treatment of excreta or sewage takes place at the same location where it is generated or emptied and transported to a treatment facility. Common examples of on-site sanitation facilities are pit latrines and septic tanks. The problems that were identified years back under the Water and Sanitation for urban poor projects still exist.
Mkangalati niozula toilet mulibendera mafasulira na even problem.
This toilet is expensive to maintain as it gets full quickly, and when you don't have money to pay sanitation service providers, it becomes a problem. They should just find a way of getting everything at once at an affordable price.
On-site sanitation provision, despite being a progressive arrangement, has come with challenges service providers face in most shanty compound, which include but not limited to accessibility of some facilities due to bad roads and the inability to pay for services among households. Jochi Services Limited works under the supervision of the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company.
Kanyama, most of the roads they are bad, and during the rain season we have constant breakdowns of the vehicles as we take them there, as we try to work in those areas. The other challenge is some people, they don't know how to keep the toilets well. They throw rubbish, all sorts of rubbish, meaning that the garbage from the houses, when they sweep, they throw those things that are not supposed to be thrown in the pits.
The sanitation firm is however confident that with increased Constituency Development Fund CDF allocation, some of the problems, such as roads, will be eliminated.
Most of our people in these unplanned settlements, they struggle to pay for these services. It's sometimes a bit difficult for someone to pay 150 for 16 barrels or 300 kwacha for 32 barrels and 450 for 48 barrels. They are controlling over 7 constituencies. So if you say 25 million by 7, that's over 100 million or so. They should consider buying graders and tippers so that they can work on these roads.
Nwasco Chief Inspector Peter Mutale tells Camnet TV News that the challenges present an opportunity to relook at how service provision can be enhanced. He says they are cognizant of the challenges and continue to find best approaches.
Encourage construction of facilities in almost all the compounds or townships so that it can also make the cost of emptying cheaper. Because sometimes what makes the emptying and transportation very expensive is where you are taking the stuff for treatment.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the main news. Bus drivers at Lusaka City Market are appealing to the Ministry of Transport and Logistics not to phase out the Toyota Hiace buses from the sector. The former Patriotic Front government declared intentions to phase out the Hiace minibuses for safety reasons. And Buses and Taxi Association President Amis Dolgia says the ministry should consider a systematic phase-out plan for the minibuses.
In 2017, the then government had announced the phasing out of Toyota Hiace minibuses on the Zambian roads due to the fact that the buses do not provide necessary passenger safety. And RATSA proposed the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter then as a new bus that operators should start using. 4 years down the line, with the coming of the new Dawn government, bus operators are still living in fear of possible phasing out of the said Hiace minibuses by the new Dawn government. The bus operators are appealing to the Minister of Transport and Communication that phasing out the buses should not be considered. Christopher Katongo had this to say.
Tingavutike kuti batikwanise utigulira mamotoka bonse mu station titisebenze sitizakwanisa izankara time ya itali chebenangu sibasebenza otherwise benangu tizankara cheolo bakawalala chabe kanshivo chita vasova.
And the bus driver, identified as Hagai, says in City Market alone there are about 400 mini buses, meaning a lot of lives will be ruined if this was to happen.
Mabasi nemanti diera ise ma bus driver na ma conductors. So ngati ba chosako ma buses ishisi watipana njala. Then wakatipana njala ndive ndichita zaenda kuti. So tipempa kuliweve kuti iyo organizo yakuti ati wakachoseko balike kuiganiza vipitilize so chabe.
Meanwhile, Buses and Taxi Association spokesperson Amis Daudi says the minister should come up with a conducive phase-out plan if this is to be done.
You know, because you cannot just go in and say close all these buses. How many are they? How many people are involved? And you know, it's across the country. The numbers are huge. You cannot just wake up and say these buses should no longer operate. You know, like our colleagues in South Africa, at the time they were hosting the World Cup, you remember, they said they should remove the TIRs from the road with the process of doing that. You know, and they were even, you know, a little bit, in fact, not a little bit, you know, very general. When you had a CIR, meaning you have an award the highest, you went to government and they handed in your highest and they gave you a Mercedes-Benz, you know, 26, 28-seater bus, you know, and then they allowed you to pay for it over an extended period of time.
By broadcast time, an attempt to get a comment from the minister on the matter proved futile as his phone went unanswered. Cherish Sibote, reporting for Camnet News, Lusaka.
A social development economist, Kelvin Chisanga, says the reclassification of Zambia from a middle-lower income to a low-income country by the World Bank has reduced the nation's creditworthiness. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Chisanga says the gross national income of the country will relatively be low, hence discouraging investors from pumping money in the economy for fear of yielding low outcomes. He, however, says the country stands at an advantage to lobby for a debt cancellation as the debt portfolio has been the major contributor to the current economic status.
The country has been faced with a number of economic challenges, with the high debt portfolio being the #1 factor, following the reclassification of Zambia's economic status by the World Bank from being a middle-lower income generating country to a lower income country for the year 2022 to 2023 has brought fear among Zambians as to what trajectory the country is heading. And speaking in an interview with Camnet News, a social development economist, Kelvin Chisanga, says this classification has reduced the nation's creditworthiness.
Medium or from lower middle income to low income levels signifies to say that we have actually shaped in a different direction. Obviously, it's not showing any good positive direction was also put on the table, and issues to do with the debt portfolio for this nation also compounded, or could actually even compound to this. So what I would say in this case, that the letting is signifying to say that there is a need for us to basically look at how best can we bring the aspect of trustworthiness now, which have lost, because that is what
Mr. Chisanga further says this, however, can be beneficial for Zambians as it may accelerate chances of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to grant the nation debt relief systems.
Where now we need to look at how best can we bring the fortitude of bringing things to the table. Then when it comes to the IMF, yes, it can also accelerate the IMF now system of relief or system of help, because obviously whatever we have actually been advocating for, to have the IMF come on board, I think considering what the World Bank has done, and obviously this is a report that also is done in two ways. It is in retrospective of what transpired previous year, and also it is something that is also projecting what will be happening in the next year, of which there is a possibility that this year can have a different.
However, this classification should prompt the country to increase productivity as an inward measure to restore the country's economy to its right direction. Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Some Lusaka mobile money operators have appealed to the government to put up measures that will guarantee their businesses from collapsing in the wake of demolition of their mobile money booths. One of the victims, who is also a student, Boston Musaka, tells Camnet News that he and his colleagues have resorted to operating from the streets for survival. Opposition Patriotic Front acting president Given Luminda has condemned the act and threatened to settle the matter in court if government does not meet the needs of the mobile money operators. Meanwhile, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development maintains that the move is aimed at creating sanity in the Central Business District, and all the affected will be compensated. The Lusaka City Council LCC, in partnership with Stanbic Bank and Chilanga Cement Unit, have embarked on the Keep Cleaning campaign in a bid to create sanity across the Central Business District of Lusaka. Stanbic Chief Executive Officer Mwindwa Siyakalima advised the citizenry to embrace the norm of having a clean environment. Speaking at the launch of the campaign, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development implored citizens to be ambassadors of keeping the country clean, green and healthy, and to avoid littering. Well, we take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Welcome back now. Getting into an international item. 2 bar shootings in a township close to Johannesburg and another in eastern South Africa left 19 dead, police said on Sunday. In Soweto, 15 people were killed as they enjoyed a night out, police said, when assailants drew up in a minibus taxi and began randomly firing at bar patrons. In the eastern city of Pietermaritzburg, police reported 4 people were killed and 8 wounded during a shootout in a bar after 2 men fired discriminately at customers. Police sources said it was too early to say if the assaults were in some way connected, but observed their similarities. In Soweto, Johannesburg's largest township to the southwest of South Africa's economic capital, police were called on the scene shortly after midnight. Here's a roundup of international news.
Police in South Africa are still investigating 2 bar shootings on Sunday that left 19 dead and several wounded. The shootout took place in 2 different places, one in Soweto, where 15 people were killed, and another in Pietermaritzburg, where 4 others were shot dead and 8 wounded.
Is that the assailants, they just entered into that space while people are enjoying themselves and they shot randomly to them. As to what is the motive, currently we don't know, but our detectives are hard at work.
Police sources say it was too early to say if the assaults were in some way connected, but observed their similarity. Authorities are now calling upon civilians to give any information that can lead to the arrest of the perpetrators.
And wish to call upon communities to actually really indeed assist the police in bringing to book those perpetrators.
The dead were between the age of 30 and 45. The 2 incidents come a year after an outbreak of the worst violence the country has seen since the end of the apartheid era 3 decades ago brought democracy. An explosion in northern Togo has killed 7 people, the military confirmed on Sunday without giving further details about the blast. The explosion happened in Tone Prefecture near the border with Burkina Faso, where a Sahel jihadist insurgency is threatening to spill over into coastal West African nations. Togo last month declared a state of emergency in its northern prefectures over the threat of Islamist militant attacks from north of its borders. Togo's army said in a statement the explosion on Saturday in Magba village in Tone killed 7 and wounded 2 more. It did not give more details and did not describe it as an attack. 8 Togolese soldiers were also killed in May in an attack in northern Togo near the border with Burkina Faso. Togo's troops are deployed in the north of the country to try and contain a jihadist threat, pushing south from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, where militants linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State groups frequently operate.
People in Congo voted on Sunday in the first round of the Central African country's legislative and local elections. President Denis Sassou Nguesso's ruling Congolese Labour Party is looking to maintain control of both houses of parliament. At polling stations visited by journalists, voting began an hour late. The ruling party, which already has 101 seats out of a total of 151 in the outgoing assembly, has fielded 127 candidates. It is only rivaled by the Pan-African Union for Social Democracy, the country's main opposition bloc, which has fielded 45 candidates for the legislative polls. One party has boycotted the vote, calling for the release of political prisoners instead.
We now get into our sports item. Kafuwa Celtic captain Maxwell Mulutula says the team has advanced in the preparations for the 2021-2022 National League. Speaking to Camnet Sports, Mulutula says the team needs to work in coordination whilst on the pitch. Mulutula is optimistic that the team will win the league.
Preparations ahead of the Eden University National League for Kafio Celtic has reached an advanced stage. Camnet Sports was on the ground and found the players training. We engaged the club captain Maxwell Mulutula in an interview, who disclosed that the team is adequately preparing for the tournament.
I think since we are still in the pre-season, and I don't know if you are aware, we have released a quite number of players, the ones we are playing in the Super League. So it's more like now we are building the team. So I think it's too early for me to say we are that lady, because now we are building. As you can see, now we have the young ones, so we are shaping the team.
The league has seen clubs like Nkwazi Football Club and Napsa Stars FC participating. Mulutula says the team needs to work on the communication and unit while it's on the pitch.
We are not that 100% prepared, but I trust the team that we have and the training that we are doing so far. I think, yeah, we are almost there to make the better team to challenge in the National League. I think we are lacking that experience, yeah, because as I said before, we have a lot of young players. We are lacking the experience, but you know, we have the good coaches. I think they work on that, and the combination, I think we are not that good, because we have a lot of new faces. But I think getting there, it won't be difficult.
Camnet Sports also engaged other strikers who had their views.
As of now, we recently started our pre-season, but everything's alright. We're pushing and everything. We're trying our best to be in good shape for the season. Majority of us are young players, and we hope we can get a chance to play in the National League.
But monga nchen pimpa monga pali team yanga. Mbemba tsenzele pali ya dwek. Nifuna tibwele mprime mwetinariri. Ndeve nifuna shapa. Then vetista prepared apa first tili monga pa pre-season apa first. Ndeve ngakambeni.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Concerned member in MONZE district believes that the use of football in bringing the youth together will be the only way to help build good character in young people of Manungu area, because most of them are involved in drug abuse as well as theft, which has led to community members to be living in fear. Innocent Nyemba, who is a coach for Manungu Football Club, said there is need for investors and other community members to come on board and help this initiative of fighting bad activities involved in many youths in the area. The Dominic Chivezia Chia Cup tournament will help bring together the youths of MONZE district and be sensitized on the effect of drug abuse and other bad devices such as stealing. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Zambians to be paying more for transport as bus fares increase. NABBED opposition leader calls for the impeachment of President HH. The PF threatens to sue government over the demolition of mobile money booths. And in international news, police probe a deadly mass shooting in South Africa. And in sports, football to change the mindset of youths in MONZE district. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of James 3, verse 13 to 14, and it reads, "Who is wise and has understanding among you? He should show his works by good conduct with wisdom's gentleness. But if you have bitter envy and selfish ambition in your heart, do not brag and deny the truth." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.